It's January 11th, 2026, and as we settle into the heart of winter, a familiar guest is making its presence known once again. The days are short, the air is crisp, and across the country, people are bracing for what's ahead. This time of year always brings a sense of anticipation, but this winter there's an added twist. That's because a well-known weather pattern has returned, La Niña. This phenomenon, which begins thousands of miles away in the Pacific Ocean, has a powerful influence on our weather here at home. When La Niña is active, cooler than average waters in the Pacific set off a chain reaction that can be felt across the globe. After a brief break, La Niña is returning, and that means big changes are coming, especially for the East Coast. The atmosphere is shifting, and meteorologists are already seeing signs that this winter could be anything but ordinary. This isn't just a minor shift. La Niña can shape our weather for weeks or even months at a time. It can alter storm tracks, change precipitation patterns, and even affect temperatures from coast to coast. For many, it means preparing for the unexpected. Right now, we're tracking the potential for a significant storm system to develop along the eastern seaboard late next week. Early models suggest this could bring heavy snow, strong winds, and even the risk of coastal flooding in some areas. Meteorologists are watching closely, as this setup could impact millions from the southeast to New England. Cities like Atlanta, Washington, D.C., New York, and Boston are all in the potential path, and communities are already making preparations. If you remember past La Niña winters, you know they can bring surprises, sometimes in the form of sudden snowstorms, icy roads, or prolonged cold snaps. Each event is unique, but the pattern is clear. La Niña winters demand our attention. Over the next sections, we'll break down what La Niña is, what it did last month, and why it's setting the stage for major winter weather. We'll look at the science, the history, and what you can expect in the coming weeks. My goal is simple: to give you a clear, straightforward picture of what's coming, so you and your family can be ready for whatever La Niña brings this winter. Stay tuned, stay prepared, and let's get started. So what exactly is La Niña, and why does it matter so much for our weather? The name La Niña means the little girl in Spanish, but don't let that fool you. This climate phenomenon can pack a powerful punch, influencing weather patterns across the globe. La Niña is one phase of the El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO for short, a natural cycle that swings between warmer and cooler ocean conditions in the tropical Pacific. While El Niño brings warmer waters, La Niña is its cooler counterpart, and both have far-reaching effects on weather, agriculture, and even economies worldwide. During a La Niña event, powerful trade winds blow from east to west across the Pacific, pushing warm surface water toward Asia. This allows colder, nutrient-rich water to well up along the coast of South America, cooling the ocean's surface there. These changes might seem small, but they set off a chain reaction that can alter weather patterns thousands of miles away. This patch of cool water acts like a pebble in a pond, sending ripples through the atmosphere. One of the biggest impacts is on the jet stream, the fast-moving river of air high above us that guides storms and shapes weather systems. When La Niña is in play, the jet stream often shifts northward, changing where storms travel and how intense they become. In the United States, this usually means a tale of two regions. The northern states often get colder, snowier, and stormier winters, with frequent blasts of Arctic air and heavy snowfall. Meanwhile, the southern states tend to see warmer, drier conditions, which can lead to droughts or even wildfires if the pattern sticks around. The East Coast especially becomes a battleground. Here, cold air from Canada collides with moist air streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. This clash can create the perfect recipe for major winter storms. Think nor'easters that dump heavy snow, ice, and rain along the coast and inland cities. It's important to remember that La Niña isn't a storm itself. Instead, it's more like a background player, quietly loading the dice for certain weather patterns to become more likely. It increases the odds for some regions to get hit harder by winter weather, while others might see milder or drier conditions than usual. Every La Niña is unique, with its own quirks and surprises. But right now, the signs are pointing to a classic La Niña setup for late January, one that could bring dramatic swings in temperature, intense storms, and plenty of action for weather watchers. To get a sense of what might be coming, let's take a closer look at what happened last month. The patterns we saw then could offer important clues about what's in store as La Niña continues to shape our winter. Last December, La Niña gave us a preview of its power. The West Coast saw record warmth and dry weather, thanks to a strong high-pressure ridge. Meanwhile, the jet stream dipped south over the central and eastern U.S., letting Arctic air plunge in. Cities like Chicago and New York saw significant snow, while the Northeast braced for classic winter storms. Lake-effect snow hammered western New York, and the Midwest stayed cold and snowy. December 2025 was a textbook La Niña month, warm and dry in the west, cold and stormy in the north and east. Now, with similar conditions returning, last month's events are a warning for what could be ahead. Early January brought a pause in the La Niña pattern. The West Coast high-pressure ridge faded, opening the door for storms and much-needed rain and snow. Flooding and travel issues followed, but drought relief was welcome. Meanwhile, the East Coast enjoyed milder, quieter weather as the jet stream flattened out. This break was temporary. Forecast models now agree the La Niña setup is returning. The atmosphere is reorganizing, and the stage is set for Act 2 of our La Niña winter. Get ready for a shift back to colder, stormier conditions. After weeks of relentless storms and soaking rains, the West Coast is finally on the verge of a dramatic weather turnaround. Thanks to the rebuilding of La Niña's powerful high-pressure ridge, the stormy pattern that has dominated the region is about to break. This shift marks the end of a wet chapter for California and its neighbors, bringing a new set of weather dynamics into play. This mountain of air acts like a massive atmospheric barrier, blocking Pacific storms from reaching the coast. Instead of slamming into California and the Pacific Northwest, these storms are now being deflected far to the north, with their energy and moisture redirected into Canada. The high-pressure ridge is a classic La Niña feature, and its return is reshaping the entire weather map. The immediate result is striking. Rain and snow abruptly shut off, skies clear, and temperatures begin to climb across California and the Northwest. Residents who have grown used to gray, soggy days will soon be basking under blue skies and sunshine. Snowpack in the mountains will start to melt, and outdoor activities will return to parks and city streets. While this brings welcome relief from the threat of flooding and landslides, it also raises new concerns. If the dry spell lingers, water supplies could once again become strained, especially in areas that rely on winter storms to refill reservoirs and rivers. The region's history of drought means that even a few weeks without rain can have lasting impacts on agriculture, ecosystems, and communities. But the story doesn't end in the West. This high-pressure ridge is just the first domino in a much larger chain reaction. As it forms, it sets off a dramatic shift in the jet stream, triggering a cold and stormy pattern downstream in the east. The weather seesaw is about to tip. The jet stream will buckle and dip, steering cold air masses and the main storm track directly toward the east coast. Cities like New York and Boston should prepare for a return to winter's chill, with the potential for snow, ice, and blustery winds in the days ahead. So, as the West enjoys a stretch of sun and warmth, the East should brace for winter's return. The contrast will be dramatic, with spring-like conditions in California and a wintry blast for the Atlantic seaboard. The pattern shift is already underway, setting the stage for a tale of two coasts, one basking in sunshine, the other gearing up for another round of winter weather. With high pressure locked over the west, the jet stream is forced north, then plunges southeast across the U.S. This river of air drags Arctic cold from Canada into the Midwest and Northeast, setting the stage for below-average temperatures. The cold air is crucial for winter storms. Without it, we just see rain. The jet stream's dip also creates a trough, lifting air and fueling storm development. As this trough moves east, it energizes low-pressure systems, especially along the East Coast. The setup is perfect for phasing, when northern and southern energy combine to create powerful storms. Late next week, this pattern could trigger a major East Coast storm. The threat is growing. All the ingredients are coming together for a potential East Coast winter storm. Forecast models suggest a low-pressure system will form over the southeast around January 22nd or 23rd. If the storm heads out to sea, impacts will be minor. But if it hugs the coast, a classic nor'easter track, it could rapidly intensify, pulling in Atlantic moisture and clashing with cold air. This could mean heavy snow, ice, and strong winds from DC to Boston. The exact rain-snow line will depend on the storm's track. Just a few miles can make a huge difference. We'll be watching closely as the details come into focus. Anyone along the I-95 corridor should stay alert. There's another twist, a possible blocking high over the North Atlantic. This acts like a traffic jam, slowing or stalling storms along the East Coast. If a blocking high develops, storms could linger, dumping more snow or rain and increasing the risk of flooding. It also locks in cold air, making snow more likely for major cities. This setup is classic for historic Northeast snowstorms. Some models even hint at a second storm following the first, prolonging the wintry weather. The forecast is complex, but the potential for a 1-2 punch is real. Meteorologists are on high alert. Here's the bottom line. After a quiet start to January, La Niña is back, bringing colder air and a rising threat of a major winter storm. The chill will settle in soon, so get your winter gear ready. The main headline is the potential for a high-impact storm around January 22nd, 23rd. Now's the time to review your winter emergency plans and supplies. Stay tuned to trusted forecasts. Details will sharpen as the storm approaches. This La Niña pattern is setting up a classic winter battle. Cold air versus Atlantic moisture. Be prepared, stay safe, and we'll keep you updated every step of the way.